Hey everybody, Tony Gaffney here, checking in from Nahariya, Israel. I just wanted to say that I hope everybody is doing okay and staying safe and healthy during this rough time. We will get through this.
Do you feel as though everything, professionally speaking, has worked out for the best with the international career instead of the NBA, and why?
It's a good question. Obviously, every kid's dream playing basketball growing up is to play in the NBA and have a long career, and that was no different for me. However, as you grow and you get older, that kind of changes, and you take what's thrown at you. And for me, a career in the NBA wasn't exactly in the cards. And 11 years after my career started, I can't say there's anything I would change about it. I've had the luxury of traveling and exploring and working in countries that felt like they were light years away as a child. I've made friendships and relationships that will last the rest of my life. Doing so, I've got to experience things that kids can only dream of. So again, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I'm extremely blessed to have played a game for a living for this long.
Do you have a favorite country that you've played in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to have played in some amazing countries, Germany, Spain, Italy, Japan. I've been all over the world, but having a son that was born in Jerusalem and having a baby girl that's about to be born here in Nahariya, there's no place more special to my family than Israel. The way the country has embraced us and kind of taken us in as their own. It's been extremely special for us. It's a place that will always hold dear to our hearts, and this is all aside from the basketball aspect, which has been amazing as well. I've had 3.5, 4 years of great experiences here playing. The fans have been nothing short of loyal and have always had my back, and it's.
Was there a point where you realized an international career was more suitable than the uncertainty of an NBA career?
It's another good question. It's the same difficulties that there are in an NBA career and making it in the NBA. It's just as difficult to establish a good reputation in Europe. Over here, Americans are considered foreigners. So. You see foreigners come and go in other countries constantly, so to have been able to establish a reputation that has kept me playing for 11 years and still going. Early on in my career, I had realized that. You see often a lot of guys, spend 3, 4, 5 years in the G League, and financially that takes a hit because you can only play the game for so long. So again, once I was, had gotten my feet wet in the European market, I became an all-star in Germany for a few years. It was then that I had realized, my greatest value was in Europe and the uncertainties of what the NBA held, while I was still on the cusp. And, who knows what would have happened had I not given it a couple more years of effort and trying to get my feet and stamp into the NBA. It worked out for the best, and I'm glad that I had the right people in my corner encouraging me to continue to pursue my career in Europe and on the European market. So again, it worked out for the best.
A question many people have is the financial situation of overseas basketball. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's a question that I get often. And while talking about salaries in any line of work can be uncomfortable, I get it. With European basketball, the financial situation ranges substantially, kind of like every line of work. You have players that make on the low end of $30,000 or $40,000, and then you have players that can make towards $4 or $5 million. Again, it all depends on the league that you're in, the sponsorships your teams have. For me, I've fallen in the middle, and I've made a very nice living playing basketball for as long as I have. Some of the added perks that go along with it When you get to the higher levels of European basketball and playing overseas, the teams accommodate you extremely well. You're given a house, you're given a car, all expenses paid for. The taxes on your salary is paid for. So what you sign for is what you get after taxes, and yeah, there's a lot of different little added bonuses that go along with it. So again, you can make a very lucrative career playing, and I've been extremely fortunate to be paid well for 11 years, and it's just yeah, it's a good question.
When you retire from basketball, will you come back to live in the United States, more specifically the southeastern Mass area?
Yes, while my wife and I have grown very accustomed to life in Europe and in Israel, and it has become our home away from home. America, and more specifically Massachusetts and Rhode Island, is our home. Obviously, for 10 months of the year, we miss it greatly, and we're really looking forward to residing and spending the rest of our lives in the New England area and in America. We have a condo back home right now, and upon retirement, we'll be on the house market. We prefer somewhere in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, as like I said, that's our home, and that's where our lives will be.
What restaurants back home do you miss the most?
Man, while the food overseas and specifically in Israel is phenomenal, and I must say that the food in Israel is probably the most underrated food in the world. My wife and I love it. Again, there's no food like the food at home. A few of our favorite restaurants are Sava's in Somerset, Fiestas in Somerset, Ma and Pa Rafa's. We love going to Barrett's. We love going to all those waterfront restaurants in New Bedford, Merrill's Waterfront, the Black Whale. Obviously, there's countless restaurants that we really look forward to throughout the year, to returning home to going to. We often have bets playing Yahtzee on who's going to choose the first restaurant upon arrival, in which I usually win. And our first one, I'll probably do my wife a favor and we'll go to Sava's, because throughout her entire pregnancy she's talked about Sava's pizza constantly. So.
Okay, last question, but an important one. Can your brother Bud dunk?
Dunk what? No, right now Bud cannot dunk. If I were to give him 2 months and a little financial incentive, a little bit, he would be able to dunk for sure in a few months.